Hey, grown folks, Donna Smith with another grown folk topic on the weekend for you. Excuse me, let's talk about some grown folk stuff right now. Let's talk about being in a situation where you first get with someone and you sit up and you talk about when you meet and you greet and you have your open discussions, and you're both interested in one another. You began to talk about your likes and your dislikes. You know, I like to go camping. I like to go skiing. I like to do the movies. I like to go to concerts. And you start to weigh and before you know it, your conversation and your direction gears towards sex. Yeah, sex. And you start to ask each other a few things about sex, well, how many times a week is comfortable for you to have sex when you really, into somebody or whatever? You ask those type of questions. What type of sexual positions do you like? You know, did you have a great sexual relationship in your last, relationship? I mean, you get kind of deep sometimes with asking certain questions. However, let's deal with this one in particular, which is the one I mentioned regarding would you, or how many times, I'll say, how many times a week would you want to have sex? And you tell this person, well, with me, I can do it every day. You know, I love sex and I can just do it every day. I love it. And then they tell you, well, 2 or 3 times a week is cool for me. Now remember, you really gigging and you balancing and jiving together here. Everything else is on point. And then right at that moment, you're saying, wow, I'm a everyday and they are 2 or 3 times a week. Wow, that's kind of deep. Hmm. Well, the way I get down, let's just go on and, let's just do it anyway and see what it do. Because by the time this person is thinking, by the time I get down with this person enough in the way that I do, well, they gonna want to do it every day. So you laid all that out on the table, and then you get together and things start happening, and come to find out, they don't want to do it that much, and you are an everyday person. So all these arguments start because the pressure is on and the complaints come and you're not satisfying me, and aren't you, am I doing everything you wanted me to in the bedroom, and how come you don't desire me and want it more, and da da da, and you go back and forth and on and on. And before you know it, your relationship is in trouble. And this person comes back and say, well, did we not have this conversation when we first started seeing each other? Yeah, we did. And did I not tell you that 2 or 3 days a week was all right with me? Yeah, you did. But I told you that every day was fine, and I know how I get down, so I knew that I was going to be able to change your mind about that. Hmm. What do you think, grown folks, in a situation like that? Who was right? Who was wrong? What should have been done? I mean, when you see an unbalance like that from the gate, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, they see that some things are just kind of not on that same balance scale wavelength, and they go head on and they get involved with someone because they want to try to change them. They want to try to, put them on the same plane as they are, which is automatically out of bounds and the wrong thing to do. If you were looking for someone to balance you sexually like that had the same desires as you and would be compatible, that's the type of person you should have set your sights out and went on and pursued. When that person told you, honestly, that they were not into, really having sex every day, I mean, that should have been your cue right there. Why do some try to change and fix the situation? So the relationship blew up. It blew up. It ended. It was all bad. And the person who was the everyday active sexual appetite was totally pissed and felt like they were jaded and done wrong. That if this person truly loved them and truly wanted them and was truly satisfied by them and wanted to satisfy them, they would have went on and accommodated them, regardless of them not being an everyday type of sexual person. What's your thoughts, grown folks? I mean, in that kind of situation, do you think that they were out of bounds by assuming that? Assuming that a person should just be an accommodating regardless of what their feelings, needs, and desires were in regards to that particular topic? Or do you feel the person that was, falling short a little bit, do you think they should have, maybe met them halfway a little bit more? Maybe instead of 2 or 3 days, maybe they could give it to them maybe 4 or 5 days out of a 7-day week. Compromise a little bit. Or perhaps the one who was every day could tone it down and say, well, okay, well, since, I normally want it every day, maybe I could deal with 6 or 5 days a week. What you think? In a situation like that, sex is important and it's hot, and everybody has their own desire and ways that they want and need and crave things. In this particular situation, how would you have handled that? What would you have done? What would you tell another that came to you with a scenario such as that and they were not getting sex as often as they wanted, or they had a mate that wanted it more than they wanted to give it? What would you do? Or what would you say? Let me know.